Absolutely not.
Welcome, everyone. I'll just give us about 30 more seconds by the last few get logged in, and then we'll get going.
That help? No, I can see. I can read the main screen right now. So. It should go on full screen once we do it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our Lunchtime Learning with stopRED and Dr. Juanita Cleaver-Simmons and her guests. This session is being recorded, so that recording will be available usually about the beginning of next week on stopred.org, along with all of our past sessions. You can find those on there, along with the blog where you can interact with Dr. Simmons with her prompts. Please mute yourself out of respect for our speakers. Feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation by raising your hand, putting in the chat, or just asking out loud. At the end of the session, please take the 2-minute survey that helps us continue to improve these sessions and get funding. Funds are made available for this project through the Missouri Department of Public Safety and the Missouri Juvenile Justice Advisory Group from funding provided by the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Simmons.
Good morning and welcome. We're so excited that you're here with us. It's Women's History Month. But today, a panel of 5 wonderful women from the Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption Association will present for you and share with you about one of the most wonderful child-centered organizations in our state. We're happy to have Alex Russell, Lynn Burnside, Shannon McPherson, Brianna Little, Crystal Huntsberger here from the Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption Association. And again, we're grateful to the Missouri Department of Public Safety for assisting with this effort. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Alexis and the panel.
Thank you. I am Alex Russell, and I'm the 30 Days to Family Supervisor based out of Osage Beach, and I am going to get us started. So we are with the Central Missouri Foster Care and Adoption Association, and I'm just going to share a little bit once I get my PowerPoint going. Okay, so just a little bit of our history. Deanna Alonzo founded CMFCAA in 2007. She is a former foster youth, and she actually began providing backpacks filled with toiletries and clothes and other essentials to kiddos who are entering care out of the back of her Cavalier trunk. That is why our clothing closet is called The Trunk, is because she started providing those goods to families that needed them from the trunk of her car. She really saw the need, and that led to CMFCAA becoming an organization in 2007. After 6 years of hard work, she partnered with the state of Missouri to expand from local areas to 13 different counties. And that allowed us to reach even more families and fulfill even more needs. And then in 2017, we're still seeing those increased needs. So we implemented more programs, which would be 30 Days to Family, which is my program, Extreme Family Finding, which Shannon here will speak about here in a few minutes, Family Development, and Kinship Navigators to make sure that we're able to help our communities. And then in 2021, we expanded to 24 counties in a partnership with Foster Adopt Connect and the Coalition in St. Louis. So not every county in the state of Missouri has a resource center, which is such a huge deal. So that is just a little bit of our history. And then we are continuing to grow at an accelerated rate through needs of clients and through staff development. And so in 2023, in November, Jill Quay took over as our CEO. She comes with lots of experience and passion, and we are just really excited to see how we blossom under her leadership. So that is just a little bit about us as far as staffing and leadership. And then our mission, you will hear this quite a bit if you're familiar with our agency. We try to promote it as much as we can. But essentially, we are committed to providing essential services and support to kinship, foster, and adoptive families in Central Missouri. The map right here shows our 24 counties that we cover. And so we are constantly on the move. We have offices in Columbia, Rolla, Jeff City, and Osage Beach. So we are spread out enough to be able to cover all of our counties. And then here are some of our statistics from 2022 to, I believe, June of 2023. So let's see, a good one to pick. So 926 children were in kinship care, and we helped serve them. We had 77 staff serving our communities in 4 different offices. And then we had 563 care packs provided to families. So that is going to be a care pack full of non-perishable goods and a ham or a turkey, depending on the holiday assigned to it. And then we served over 5,000 children just in the Central Missouri area. And so we are constantly pushing those numbers up. This year, we're looking at even better numbers, but we just can't provide them right now. Are there any questions so far? I know I've thrown a lot of information very quickly. Is there anything right now before we move on to our programs? No, that's okay. Okay, so here is a quick list of our program. Like I said, each of us is going to take a turn explaining the programs to you. They're pretty in-depth. So we have family development, family advocacy, a family for me, those of you who might have noticed it on the news. We have 30 Days to Family, Extreme Family Finding, Community Connections Youth Project, Kinship Navigators, Direct Services, Respite, and Volunteer. We really try to essentially fill any gap that we can and provide any service that we're able to assist with, whether it's helping the children or helping the families. And this is all completely free of charge. We do not ask for anything in return for our services. So to kick us off, we have family development. So this program is going to be working with families who are interested in becoming foster parents, or those who might be serving as a relative placement, or those who maybe just need continuing education. So we offer STARS Caregiver for relative providers, Mo Cares, which is the new training for potential foster parents, Spalding, which is for prospective adoptive parents. We have CPR for new and renewing foster parents. We also offer Sibling Bond, and that's to help support relationships or possible separations of siblings and immersing new siblings into the home, just to kind of make sure there's a smooth transition. And then we also have Ready, Set, Fly, and that's kind of help guide foster parents on how to teach life skills to those older youth who maybe never received, those simple life skills of budgeting, cooking, cleaning, the things that we kind of take for granted that maybe not everybody else did receive. In addition to training, we also complete the home visits and the home assessment for potential foster parents. So this can consist of 4 to 5 in-home visits with multiple family interviews. There's also a self-reflection process to ensure that families are able to provide an appropriate and safe environment for those kiddos going into their home. After they do these visits, the assessor completes a 15 to 20-page home assessment that can vary based on each family. And then they also do all the required licensure documents to give to the licensing worker who will maintain the home. So we get them prepared for licensure, but we do not maintain once they are officially licensed. Do we have any questions over family development? No? Okay. So next we have 30 Days to Family, which is my program. So we are a front-end program that begins as soon as a kiddo comes into care. We actually usually get our referrals before the kiddos actually come into care at the PC hearing. We are a referral and eligibility-based program. New cases, we just have 4 requirements they have to reach. They have to be entering or re-entering care. There cannot be any identified and approved. There can be identified, just not approved relatives for placement. And then the child must be able to be safely placed within the community within 30 days. So this would be no medical treatment that's needed for an extended amount of time or residential stays. And then a member from our team just has to attend the PC hearing or the FST to screen for eligibility. And then if a case is eligible, the specialist begins identifying that same day for maternal and paternal family members out to the 4th to 5th generation. I've had a specialist that's gone all the way to the 7th generation because she is just an absolute powerhouse of a searcher. And I tell everybody that story any chance that I get because she is just fantastic. But when we're calling those family members, we're looking to see if they can offer support or if they're interested in possible placement. So that support can go from phone calls and visits and cultural supports and emotional connections. Maybe it's a teacher or another mentor the kiddo might have had, and then also screening if they're interested in placement. So when we're doing that, we're averaging about 150 relatives and usually about one possible placement, if not multiple, but we always strive for at least one so they have that connection. Okay, is there any questions on that? There's always exceptions. There's never a case that's the same, but we always strive to find at least 150 in one backup. Any questions? No? Okay. I feel like I'm covering the information really fast. All right, so now we have our Community Connections Youth Project, which will be Crystal.
Good afternoon. My name is Crystal Huntsberger. I'm a CZYP specialist, so Community Connections Youth Project Specialist. It's a mouthful, so we just call ourselves CCYP Specialist. And I am actually the specialist in the Osage Beach office. We have specialists in each one of our locations, 2 in Jeff City, 1 in Columbia, and 1 in Rolla. So Community Connections Youth Project, we have the honor of working with young adults ages 17 to 26. Those young adults have either aged out or are getting ready to age out of the foster care system. In order to be eligible for our services, their time in care, so reunification could have happened, but their time in care has to be within the last 7 years. So if they come to us at 18, 7 year, if it was 7 years ago that they were in care, they're eligible for our services. It's kind of equivalent to bridging that gap of the life skills that they were not able to pick up during their time in care or after their transition out of the foster care system. We work in multiple different domains with our young adults. Social supports is a big one. We like to build their social support system and also teach them along the way that social supports aren't just family members or friends, but it could quite literally be the receptionist at your local doctor's office who answers your questions every time you're in there or gives you resources. So just teaching them that social supports go beyond family and friends and making different connections with people that you can reach out to for that extra information that may be needed. We also work with them in our housing domain. This seems to be a huge one. A lot of the times our young adults come to us homeless, couch surfing, nowhere to go, and they don't even know where to start. So we hop in, we jump in the mud with them, and we start working on housing and finding solutions for a more positive outcome. We also like to work with them on education. Education isn't considered one of our crisis domains, but once we work through the crisis domains, we always push for furthering education, whether that looks like trade school, certificate of some sort, or actually going to pursue a degree. We connect them with different resources that are available to them that they're eligible for, specifically because they were in the foster care system. And then also resources that they're eligible for, maybe because of age, gender, whatever that looks like. We're really good at finding resources to make sure that any of our young adults who wish to pursue their education has that opportunity to do so. You can go on. The next one that we like to focus on is physical and mental health services. A lot of the times when a youth or young adult ages out of foster care, they are not aware that they are eligible for Show Me Healthy Kids until their 26th birthday, which means no matter what their income is, they have access to Show Me Healthy Kids Medicaid until their 26th birthday. They don't know this, so we bridge that gap. We find out how to get them their Medicaid information, request a new card, and also find their primary care physician, get them lined up with the eye doctor, the dentist, things to teach them that this is not only a part of self-care, but it also is going to potentially help you in the future because you're learning how to take care of your health now. And then mental health services is a big one as well. We work with youth and young adults who come to us with trauma, lots of trauma. And if if and when they are ready to pursue mental health services with us, we do everything we can to find those resources and get them connected with the correct mental health professionals to assist them with the healing process, to start their journey in their healing process. Employment is also another domain. I love working on employment with our young adults because that knowing what kind of employment they're looking for opens up a whole segue to getting to know them a little further. Also to learn what they're passionate about. Generally, if you have an interest in a certain type of employment, it usually means that you have a passion for something that has to do with that employment. So a lot of the times we see young adults who are super interested in using their voice and their lived experience to make an impact in other places. So we really like to connect them with people and employment opportunities that is potentially going to allow them to continue to do that during their employment experiences. We also work on multiple other different domains. And as you can see, or as most of you know, becoming an adult can be extremely overwhelming, specifically for the youth and young adults who were unable to make that connection in the foster care system. They age out with limited or no social supports. So CCYP is just there to bridge that gap, to provide that assistance and everything from getting a driver's license, which is also one of my favorite things to do with our young adults. And fun fact, I'll just share a little personal experience. I am also a foster care alumni, aged out of care. I didn't get my driver's license. I didn't legally drive with the driver's license until 9 years ago. So I love getting them access to driving permit, driving instruction, and a driver's license so they can skip the heartache of having multiple tickets that they can't afford to pay for, and potentially suspension or revoked driver's license that can potentially prevent them from getting employment that they desire. But we also help with legal issues, not so much on the criminal side, like heavy criminal side of things, parking tickets, speeding tickets, trespassing tickets. Like I said, we work with our youth on housing, and sometimes that looks like in specific bigger city areas, the counties that we cover, Jeff City, Columbia, Rolla. If you're homeless and caught sleeping on any kind of public property, you get a trespassing ticket, and that in return starts to become a problem. So we assist with that. We actually just recently assisted a client with that to help get that, to get guidelines set so it's not put on their record, but they're able to meet the fulfillment of the court. So it's not attached to them and potentially prevents them from finding the employment that they may want to find one day. And then in many other domains, I do want to touch on the domain. One of the domains that isn't listed is financial. We do provide limited financial assistance. And I find that super important to let everybody know, because they come to us. We're always going to, one, work with them, but before providing financial assistance, we focus heavily on them working with us and providing them with resources to contact. And if we can't find a community resource or support that is going to help them through what they need that financial assistance for, CCYP and CMFCAA is able to step in and provide that financial assistance. But at any point in time, if us providing them financial assistance hinders them from being independent, we scale back on the financial assistance and we still continue to work with them. We never kick them out of the program. We are voluntary based, and client led. So we work on what they want to work on, and we provide the suggestions for positive outcomes. But really at the end of the day, it's super, I'm not going to say it's super easy for everybody, but from my experience, I am able to connect with our young adults and it's it goes beyond a mentorship sometimes. It's really you become invested in making sure that there's a positive outcome out there and that they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Any questions about CCYP? I know it's a lot and I'm super passionate about it, so. So we'll move on to our next program, and that's the volunteer program. The volunteer program, they are in charge of bringing in volunteers to help us at multiple different events. So the Odyssey events, our Ken and Reel conferences, our gala, the backyard barbecue bash, other fundraising events. But my favorite volunteer opportunities for the volunteer team to bring in volunteers for is the Odyssey events. This allows volunteers to work with these kiddos who are in care during Odyssey events. They're about 4 hours long for the most part, 4.5 hours. But these kids get to see and have the opportunity for these volunteers to come in and work with them, and they get to make a connection with them as well. And hopefully in the long run, teaches them how to identify positive social supports. So amazing program all around. Love the volunteer team too. And does anybody have anything else on volunteers? Did I miss anything? No. I think, oh, and the Trunk, our free clothing store, which just so you guys know, we're getting one at Osage Beach, so we're super excited about that too. Susan Baker, does a youth have to wait until they have already transitioned out of the system before they can receive services? Absolutely not. I currently have 2 on my caseload right now who are still actively in care, and they, I don't think they'll be transitioning out until they're 21. So what that looks like for CCYP is, as a specialist, we like to become a part of the FST team. So we attend FST meetings, court dates, and it's really we're there for not only that positive support for them, but also to teach them to advocate for themselves, and that their voice is important. But also working as part of that team, because we're all a team at the end of the day when it comes to FST, to make sure that there's a positive outcome for that youth and young adult.
And then Brianna, if you want to go ahead and start.
Hi, my name is Brianna Lytle. I am a kinship navigator here in Columbia, and we are another program. We're a little bit different though, because we specifically help kinship families. And when I say kinship, I'm talking about I'm talking about families who take care of their loved ones' children. So that's, aunts, uncles, grandparents, but we even have previous teachers, neighbors, good friends who are supporting that family by taking those children in and helping them during that time. So we help connect the families to necessary resources, such as like utility assistance, free closets like our trunk, and then other programs that are around whatever area they're in. We really try to expand the family support services because, raising kids is not easy. It takes a village. And so trying to get them the support that they need, whether it's within their own family or the community, we really focus on that. Another thing we try to do is reduce stress as much as possible. And it varies. We have caregivers who don't feel stressed out at all, which is wonderful. And then we have caregivers who need a lot of extra support. And that's where those respite events and stuff comes in, like the Odyssey events that Crystal was talking about, in our respite program that you'll learn about here in a little bit. And then finally, it promotes family stability. So obviously we want them to be with familiar people. Like that's our goal. And so as kinship navigators, our goal is to help maintain that longevity and staying within their familiarity so that, you know, they don't necessarily have to go into a foster home. And then the one thing that I like to point out is that we assist families that are informal and formal. So when I say informal, I mean grandma has grandkids because her daughter you know, is struggling right now, but there's no children's division involvement, there's no agency involvement. And so we're able to assist those families as well, just the same with formal families that have children's division involvement or other agency involvement. And so that's something I really like to point out because a lot of people aren't aware of that. They think that they have to have agency involvement in order to receive services, and that's not the case with us. Some of the things that we help with, like the resources, we help with child welfare navigation. So whatever that may look like, getting in contact with our caseworker, verifying information, permanency plans. We can attend FSTs and court hearings with the family members if need be, just to support, and to also kind of walk through the different things that may happen, just for clarification for them. And then we also help with things like beds, dressers, clothing, those necessary resources for families who maybe weren't expecting, you know, to get 3 kiddos. We're able to provide those things for them. And then lastly, we're able to provide what did I say? Provide utility assistance. And so that may look like finding resources in the community. And then kind of like Crystal was saying about her program, we try and find as many community resources as possible. And then if we're not able to do so, a lot of the time we're able to kind of step in and assist as needed. So does anybody have any questions about kinship or the program?
There was one question in the chat. I don't know if it specifically applies to the kinship, but what, if any, experiences have any of your youth had with law encounters? Are there collaborative support with law officers with your organization?
So that's a great question. We have quite a few of our young adults who have encountered legal issues in multiple different ways. Some of those being trespassing, some of those being theft. I mean, the list goes on and on. As of right now, we don't, I don't think that any of us as specialists have had direct contact with law enforcement, but if you would like to connect with myself or my supervisor and kind of go over what collaborating with our local law enforcement might look like, I think that would be beneficial for our program, honestly. So definitely open to any ideas that you might have on how we can collaborate. We do work a lot with the juvenile office when we are part of the FSD meetings. We just recently, just to share real quick, so we're not too far off track, we worked with a client who had guidelines to meet in order to keep from going to jail, even though she was 17. So we stepped in and helped get her motivated to meet those requirements. One was writing a paper on why theft is bad. One of those was volunteer hours. So we were able to get her lined up with our volunteer department to get those hours knocked out. One of the requirements was school and being able to either graduate or pursue a GED. So we now have her connected with a program where not only is she going to pursue her GED, but she'll also get paid to go to her AEL classes to give her the motivation to attend the AEL classes to get her GED. So whereas we don't work directly with law enforcement, however, I think we should. We do work with the juvenile office.
I
And we
think
talk
that
a lot with public defender's office as well.
great. I was one of the reasons why I asked that is because there is a restorative justice group in your area for Columbia. Am I right, Liz? Your mic is off.
Sorry,
Your
yes.
mic.
Yep, Boone County.
Boone County. There's a Boone County restorative justice group who have been trained for such incidents as, some of your students who may have some law encounters. So they train with the circles and all, and they bring in representatives from the school and from public officials. And so I think that might be a worthy conversation to begin having, trying to hook those two up, your
You had
organization
me at
and,
restorative justice.
I'm sorry?
I said you had me at restorative justice.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, definitely worth a conversation. And I would be more than happy to share my supervisor's contact information with you so you and him can collaborate and kind of work that out. I would love to meet that group.
Oh, okay, great. They'd love to probably have a conversation with you too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Mhm.
you.
All right, Bree, if you want to kick us back off again.
Okay, so direct services is our next program, and I absolutely love our direct services program. A little background, I am a foster adoptive parent, so I have 6 kiddos. I have 3 adopted, and my youngest 3 will be adopted next week. And so our direct services department has helped tremendously. We got 6 kids in less than 6 months when we first got licensed, and the direct services team really, really helped with a whole load of different things. So first we have the beginning in backpacks, and these are whenever kids are entering care, and this is for kinship or foster care. And so whenever they're entering care, our direct services team will fill a backpack of age appropriate essentials, toiletries, an outfit. Sometimes if we have, toys or books, things like that, shampoo, conditioner, all those things. And we provide those to each kiddo. And then the next thing, we talked about the trunk a little bit. And so we have the trunk in Rolla and in Jeff City, and I believe there's one opening in Osage Beach. Is that right? Okay. So and it's our free clothing closet, and so we offer all of our families the ability to shop gently used clothing, shoes, toys, bedding, a whole slew of different things, and that's all for free. And we have, like I said, we have them in Rolla, Jeff, and Osage, and so we're able to provide different, different areas. And then if we're unable to, if they're unable to get to the trunk, let's say, then I know, like me personally, for the kinship program, we have gone shopping at the trunk for them and are able to provide things like that, so that they don't have to worry about getting to the trunk, because that can be a concern as well. Our next one within direct services is One Simple Wish. This is another one that is really awesome, and we partner with One Simple Wish to basically allow families to request bigger items or higher priced items that their children may be interested in, and that can include like event tickets, furniture, a trampoline, a swing set, lots of different things. And this allows them to kind of not have to worry about those bigger priced items, but still allow the kids to be able to enjoy those things. And so we partner with them. We go through a form that we have, and One Simple Wish does their thing, and then we're able to provide that for the families that request it. You can go to the next one. Thank you. So special requests. So these are things like camp fees, sports fees, furniture again, uniforms, as well as like utility bills. So if an adopted family or a foster family is in need of utility assistance and they've exhausted all community resources and things like that, that would fall under a special request, and that goes through our direct services team. And they always try to do their best to meet the need. And yeah, that's anything else on special requests from anybody else. There's not a whole lot to it. Crystal. Okay.
Not on special requests, but just so everybody, it's a fun fact about One Simple Wish. One Simple Wish isn't just for youth and young adults who are currently in care. It's those who have aged out, and adults who have lived experience in care as well can submit for One Simple Wishes. But it's also not just geared towards the foster care system either. It is also for any families that you may encounter who have experienced domestic violence, any kind of significant trauma that may have happened to youth that you have. One Simple Wish can be submitted for them. They don't have to always be in care for that request to be submitted. I like to share that because you guys working in the juvenile justice system background, not all of your kiddos are in care. So that is a resource that can be tapped into, even if that kiddo isn't in care. So just a fun fact for you guys.
I'm glad you shared that, Miss Oates, because we do have representatives from various family courts. I see Rick Gaines and some of the others. And I think that this is information that could be critical to them because of their juvenile detention centers, that there may be possible ways to outreach. Is there a particular form that they fill out to be in contact with you? Or I noticed that many of our courts are part of those counties that you listed. How do
So
they have access to you, in essence, is what I'm asking.
I'm not over One Simple Wish. I have to submit my requests to direct services. But we do have a contact of somebody who works in One Simple Wish that we can share with you guys. Because to submit the wishes, you do have to find a partner organization for those to be submitted. So I don't know exactly what that looks like for us to submit on behalf of kids or families who aren't entangled in the foster care system. But I think Kim would be a good contact for you guys to reach out to. So I don't see why. Lakita, do you think it would be okay to share Kim's contact information?
I'm speaking of any of your services, so that, and
Oh,
hopefully at the end, you'll just have some contact information, because for many of your services, they may be of benefit to some of the professionals in our family courts,
yeah,
period.
absolutely. We love CCYP referrals.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap up direct services. So resource requests, those are the things like beds, dressers, the necessity items that families may need. That's something that direct services has helped me and my family out with tremendously. And I mean, I don't know what we would have done without it. And then lastly, car seat requests, booster seats. We help provide car seats for all of our families that we serve. And that's another one that's tremendously helpful because, again, if you're getting kiddos last minute or, weren't expecting it, car seats are something that are super important. So that's all I have for direct services. Oh, I'm sorry. I had one more thing I wanted to mention. Our care packs that we do throughout the year. So we have spring, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and back to school care packs. And I think Crystal touched on it a little bit. And so those our families can sign up for as well, and they include like or maybe Alex did. They include like the non-perishables with the turkey or ham, and then we have the back to school care packs as well. So that's all I have for direct services. Any questions?
Is there a question?
No. It's just
You
okay.
might note that they have put their contact information in the chat box for organizations who might want to know more about their services and providing for their families that they serve too. Thank you so much, Ms. Oates, for that.
Also, within the organization, there's trained technicians who specifically were trained. I think it was a week-long training to install car seats as well, because that can sometimes be an obstacle for families. But now that Brianna is finished, we have Lynn who is up next.
So I am the advocacy supervisor here in Osage Beach. And my program, this is my baby. I absolutely love this program. We serve all of the traditional foster families, anybody that has reached permanency through guardianship and adoption. We really work hard to walk with these families through any mental health crisis, behavioral concerns, permanency, legal issues, or just even basic needs. We do not provide financial crisis money, but we do hook them up with resources that do provide those financial issues. We do home assessments with the family, and we have them set the goals on what is most needed that they feel like is their biggest concern. So like CCYP, they are the ones that are driving the boat on where we go and setting those goals and how we help them. We work with those families until their needs are met. So sometimes they have multiple goals that they're working with, and they choose which goal that they want to start with. But then we work with them until all of their goals are met to their satisfaction. We then do some post needs assessments, making sure that as we're backing out of that case, that they know that they can call us back if they have any needs in the future. But also so that we kind of know where we're leaving them. So those behavioral concerns and mental health concerns, those are really some of our biggest referrals that come from the juvenile officers, children's division, and just actual families themselves, because as you guys know, trauma with those families are extreme, and they display themselves in really crazy ways sometimes. So we will help them find those mental health services that they need, whether it is a hospital, whether it is a therapist that actually meets the needs of that family. So not every therapist works for every family. So we really try to meet those needs on where that kiddo is. We have some really cool therapists here in the Lake and even Boone County and Jeff City that works with horses. That's super cool. We've been able to connect families with those therapists and seen some pretty nice results. So we then help with educational needs. Sometimes our behavioral problems are coming from a lack of understanding on education. They've been put in so many different schools, and they're really behind. They don't understand what that looks like or how to move forward. So we will help them kind of navigate that. We'll help that family facilitate those IEP meetings, those individual education plans, those 504 plans. We will go to those meetings with them. We will talk about those goals with those families, and then we will help those families understand what those goals look like at home, so they can follow what that teacher or that school is doing in that home environment, so we see better results with those families. We also help with those legal or permanency goals. We always with traditional foster families want them to reunify with their family. We always want that, and we are working towards that goal. So sometimes it's understanding children's division policies and talking to them about those policies. What does that look like? How can we navigate that? We will attend those FST meetings. We will go to barrier meetings, whatever it is needed to help that family understand what those policies are and why they're in place. We do offer education on those policies through support groups and other things like that. But we really focus on teaching families how to advocate for themselves within those family support team meetings, because those children rarely have a voice in those meetings, and they should, and they're not being heard at all. So these families, the parents are experts on their children, and those foster parents that are working with them see that trauma firsthand every day. So teaching them how to make impactful, good advocacy decisions, because sometimes they're just not always there, but we are working with them to educate them on that. We will help them if permanency cannot be reunification with that bio family. Then we will work with them on permanency with guardianship or adoption. We will help them find that lawyer. We will help them through that home study process, whatever it is that they need to move forward. Of course, that's not our first goal, but that is definitely a goal that we will work with. And then, of course, those basic needs. Sometimes when those kids get shown, put in their home, like Brianna was saying, at 3 o'clock in the morning, we are there to be called, and say, hey, I need a bed for this child. I need a crib. I've gotten calls and phone messages in the middle of the night, or even on the weekends. And I'm like, okay, so what can we do to make this happen? I'm totally okay with that. We want to support our families when they need it, how they need it. So that is really the advocacy program. Do you guys have any questions on that?
No.
Okay, I'm a fast talker, so very sorry for that. Our respite exchange program is, I think, not the coolest one, because advocacy definitely is, but it's one of the coolest programs that we have in our organization. And the reason I say that is it gives those foster parents a break when they say, hey, I have this that we need. Our respite exchange, they have a list of professionals that will take on these kids, and they can call them and find respite for these families. So any family that has need of that respite exchange, they have all they have to do is give us a call, and we're willing to help provide that a needed break for some of these families. And I don't think our families take enough of these breaks, to be honest with you. But our respite exchange is super awesome. And our Odyssey goes along with our respite. That is a wonderful opportunity for these kids to learn that they are not alone in their walk in the foster care or kinship, or like not just being at home with their parents. They're learning that they are not alone in their trauma, that other people understand what they're going through, and they can kind of trauma bond, or at least talk to each other while they're having a good time. These Odyssey events last around 4 hours, and they're dropped off. Parents get a little bit of a break, their nails done, whatever they need to do, and they come back and pick these kids up. They're usually really fun. I think this is a picture that they did at Bass Pro. They've gone to the zone. They're every month they're in a different location, but we do have them all the way through the 24 counties.
It's Kita. Okay, thank you for sharing those items, Kita. And then it's time for Shannon.
And then Shannon gets to finish us off. She is our EFF supervisor, and she's amazing.
Oh, thank you. You guys are amazing. We couldn't do any of this without the incredible teamwork that we all have within our programs. So I'm Shannon McPherson. I'm the lucky person that gets to supervise the Extreme Family Finding team here at CMFCAA. A lot of people often ask, where did we get that name? It's a little bizarre. And I don't know if any of you have ever watched Extreme Home Makeovers, but that's where the idea came from. Someone in our field took a look at that and was like, what would it look like if we could gather up as many people and put as many boots on the ground, have as many, you know, frying pans over the fire to move children towards permanency? And so, just like those shows where they've got the plumbers and the carpenters and all the people just come together and they make all this magic happen really fast. And that's what we try to do. So we employ recruiters and investigators. We locate extended family members. We locate kin, people from the past, for kids that have been in care for a long time. We work with the children that are hardest to place. We're often referred to as kind of the last resort. So kids who are older, 10 or older is our eligibility requirement. Children who are older, children who have large sibling groups, children who have elevated medical and mental health needs, the ones that really, really desperately, I mean, they all need homes, but by the time they are referred to us, their caseworkers, their FSTs have exhausted every resource at their disposal and they really need some help. And we are always excited to jump in. So we work on building a genogram. We look at, over time, a lot of children who are in care, they lose touch with their grandparents, with their aunts, their uncles, their coaches, their teachers, their past just kind of evaporates. And so we try really hard to find as many people as we can. And we ask them whether or not they are interested in becoming a permanent placement resource. And we follow the steps necessary to make sure that they are fit and appropriate. If that's the case, sometimes it's just a matter of, hey, I know how you can find so-and-so. Well, that's a great help. Sometimes it's a matter of locating people who are interested in being a lifelong support. I don't have room, or I'm older, or for whatever reason, I cannot be the permanent placement resource, but I want to stay involved and I want to, be the place where that kid comes home for Christmas. Whatever that looks like, we try to support, encourage, and protect. When we are unable to find a permanent adoptive resource, that's rare for the programs that are like ours, but when that happens, we do everything we can to provide, whether the resource has been found or not. We wrap as much concierge approach, is what we call it. We wrap as many services as we possibly can. So it might be a matter of contacting Crystal with CCYP. Can you help me find some people who can help this kiddo get out into the world? It could be getting a hold of advocacy or kinship, whatever the case may look like. There's always somebody here that we can reach out to move things along. We try to find a permanent adoptive resource within 20 weeks, and we stay involved in the case until the child reaches permanency. So for us, that's either guardianship or adoption. The eligibility requirements are not very complicated. So 10 or older, the child, we have exceptions. So if the child is part of a sibling group, if the child has been documented as having elevated medical or mental health needs, if the child has been legally free for adoption and it's been over 6 months and the FST has not located a permanent resource, we can consider cases. If the children are younger, they have to meet all of these eligibility requirements, which is legally free for adoption, with reunification no longer being the case plan, and the court grants written permission for EFF to use the child's picture, strength-based profiles to advertise them, which is kind of a really gross word to use when we're talking about kids. But with EFF, at the same time that we are looking for those extended family members, those kin, those contacts from a child's past, we are concurrently in the background throwing out a 3-pronged approach. So we are looking at child-specific recruitment. So we're contacting everybody we possibly can that knows this child, that has any interest in this child, any information on the child, any information on that child's past. We're also doing targeted recruitment. So let's say that child has a medical need. We try to reach out to support groups, doctor's offices, medical facilities, to see if there's anyone who's familiar with that medical need, if anyone's interested in placement. And we also do general recruitment. And in the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But that's the recruitment where we are taking that child's photo and strengths-based profile, and we're putting them on websites such as USA Kids, Missouri Heart Gallery. We are putting them on our website. We're building those profiles right now. So we have all of our children that are in need of a permanent resource a click away from information from your eyes to what they need you to know about them. So do you guys have any questions about EFF? Oh, there might be a couple. No, I think we're good. Okay. So family for me, I'm really excited about this. Our marketing program has teamed up with KMIZ TV and Marissa Hallowett. I don't know if any of you have ever seen her, but she is amazing. Once a month, she does these profiles on kids who are looking for permanent placements. And we launched that a few months ago. During each feature, Marissa joins with the child's caseworker at an engaging venue. They've met at music stores, they've met at pumpkin patches, they've met at arcades. I'm kind of jealous I didn't get to go, but it looked like a lot of fun. And those segments include interviews with the child, with their caseworker, and strengths-based talks about what their interests are, what they are hoping that their future is going to look like, what kind of family they think would the child would best thrive in. And so we've teamed up and partnered with not only KMIZ to pull this incredible program off, but also Children's Division in the Missouri Heart Gallery. And we hope to expand it because it's incredible. If you ever get the chance, I think some of the segments are on YouTube. So if you ever get the chance to look them up, they're pretty amazing. Any questions? All right.
Right. So I'm going to go super fast because we're running out of time. So if you want to get involved, there are some ways that you can do that. We go through our volunteer program. You can spread awareness through just getting the word out there for other people that need it. Any way that you want to. Sending us referrals. That's a wonderful way to do it. So the next slide is the Kinship and Real Conference. The Kinship Conference is both conferences are absolutely free. And the Kinship Conference helps parents connect with other people that are going through the same concerns and things, trauma issues that they are going through. We pay for their lodging, their food, childcare, everything, and we help them we offer trainings and other resources for these families. And then the Real Conference is also, it's for the foster adoptive and guardianship families. Again, it's free. We offer resources for them. We do childcare. We pay for their lodging. All of this is so that our families can really understand a little bit more of what is going on with their children and also how they can overcome some of those concerns that they have. And so this is some contact information. There's all of our contact information. You can go to our website. Our referrals are through our program. So if you'll go to our website, our programs there, you just drops down and any of our programs has a referral form right there. Super easy to do, or you can email us or call us and we will put all that information in for you. Sometimes you just don't have time for all that. So give us a call and we will do it for you. Any questions?
Okay.
That was super fast.
We have 1 minute left, and this has been phenomenal. I had envisioned that our juvenile professionals would benefit from this information and referral services to know what might be available for them. We will have this posted, right, Liz? This will be posted with the information and the contact information that's there. It'll be a part of my blog. if I can have share right quick, and you all are asked to do your evaluation forms, please, so that we can have this for our participants and for our presenters who have been just wonderful in presenting and sharing this much needed information. I wanted you all to know, and we will put this up since there's not time to talk about this today, but we wanted you to know that there is a lot to know about the Missouri juvenile system and the child welfare system, that presently 50%, 53% of all Black children, trying to get rid of this, 53% of all Black children and their parents experience child welfare investigations. They talked about the reunification program. We encourage you to look at the data center, child data center for kids count, that shows that Missouri has 12,790 kids in foster care, which is down from 2021. They do cite that there are some concerns about institutional racism when it comes to some of the policies, and particularly historically reunification policies. So I'll have information about disentangling poverty and neglect in the data for Missouri with race, equity, and evidence-based interventions. And again, we thank you so much for your attendance today, and our time is up. Don't forget, we need your evaluations, and this team has been phenomenal. We thank you. My heart goes out for the work that you do. And I mean, it's just all of the various components. They have thought of everything to connect with these families and our children in need. And I am so grateful. Liz, any final words?
Nope, just be sure to join us next month for our next lunchtime learning session. Should be on April 17th, and I will get that sent out with all of the information and registration, hopefully by next week.
All righty, it's going to deal with racialized trauma with juveniles. And so again, we are so grateful and thank you so much. Everyone have
Juanita and Liz, we want to thank you guys for having us today. We appreciate the opportunity to share what we do. And we look forward to referrals and reaching out for any more information from everyone and anyone who wants to reach out. Thank you guys so much.
And also, if I may, we're really grateful for everything you all do as well. It is a pleasure to work with you when we are involved with our FSTs. The work that you do is extraordinary. It's appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, Ms. Simmons, I would like to connect with you. I am just to learn more about your line of work and what you do and the equality and just all of it. Just because I'm super passionate about that as well.
Okay, we'll have to send you some information on the Missouri Juvenile Justice Association. Our division of RED is RED, Racial Ethnic Disparities. And this is where our regional director is Liz here. And so we'll be excited to share information with you in our upcoming conferences. And we have lunchtime every month on a Wednesday. We'd love to have you join us. CASA, Atlanta, that group has joined us and we're grateful. Any other comments or concerns? We're over our lunchtime, and I know everybody's got to get back to work, so thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thank you.